Recording.
Okay, hello everyone. My name's Graham Hooper. I'm co-managing director of Tri-Coaching Partnership. We supply continued professional development to the approved driving instructor industry, and also we supply tools and products that help our trainers teach people to become driving instructors as well. We also do some work in the fleet driver training market as well. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to pass you over to Neil, and Neil's going to introduce himself.
Okay, good afternoon everybody. I'm Neil Wightman. I'm a grade A audit registered trainer, and I'm a trainer for Tri-Coaching. And I'm going to pass you over to Ian.
Hi, my name's Ian Hunt. I am a PDI, and I've been using the ticket course to get through my part 1, part 2 and 3, supported by Neil. I got my pink license on the 16th and stopped training on the 23rd, but that's a different story. But that's just COVID.
Okay. All right, Neil, do you want to start with, I think you've got something to say before I interview Ian.
Yeah, I would just like to say how important it is. I mean, I've gained a lot of benefits from working with yourself, Graham. Obviously, you're my trainer, yeah. I've got a lot out of working with Tri-Coaching, so I've been able to help deliver trainer course. I do standards check workshops. I do standards check half-day training sessions, and especially the course that we're going to talk about, which is the ticket, which I thoroughly enjoy teaching, to be quite honest. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Lovely. So what, just so that people know what's going to happen, I'm going to interview both Ian and Neil for the purpose of this Zoom broadcast. But I'm going to start with Ian, and then I will ask some questions to Neil, and I will try to remember who I'm asking. So let's start with Ian. I suppose first things first, what made you choose the ticket course, the Tri-Coaching Instructor Training course?
Okay, well, if you let's go back to day one almost, when I had my idea of wanting to become a driving instructor. You go back to day one, you Google how do you become a driving instructor, you look through gov.uk, etc. You find somebody who's registered, and to me it wasn't just finding somebody close to me, it was what are they going to offer and what's that package. So when you then look at and you Google sort of people and services that offer courses, I found that everything apart from Tri-Coaching and the ticket course, everything was just aiming at me to buy a franchise all the time. It was nothing to do with my educational needs. It was nothing to do with my level of learning or where I'd been or what I'd done in the past. All it was let's work out how much money you're going to spend with us and what contract you're going to sign at the end of it. Now, to me, I come from an educational background as well. I wasn't a fully qualified teacher or anything like that, but I've trained in the medical industry. I come from the NHS and the ambulance service. So I actually wanted something more educational. And through pure coincidence, I met Neil. And Neil introduced me to the ticket course, and I researched that and I looked at that alongside all the other courses. And the ticket course is designed for an educational purpose, not to sell me anything, not to get me into a franchise. And it looks at making you a good instructor or a good coach through structured ways of learning and through feedback and through the modern ways of learning, not just throwing things at you. So it was a no-brainer for me. It was a no-brainer for me. It was the only one that stood out as an educational package as opposed to a sales package.
Excellent. Thank you, Ian. Neil, as a Tri-Coaching trainer, you know, you have options still to choose whatever course you want to deliver. What made you choose to deliver the ticket course as your premier product for driving instructor training?
With me, what made me want to deliver this one was the fact that it incorporates all 3 qualifying exams into the same product, and I can keep teaching right through, and you can worry about taking these exams at any time really. It's just more client-centered. We had obviously lots of opportunities for educational benefits for not only for Ian but for myself as well, and the course just runs so smoothly. It's all set out, it's completely scheduled into certain modules, so 1 to 12, and then with the 13th as well, once they're on the pink license, pushing them then for the qualifying exam. And it just felt right, to be quite honest. It really felt comfortable, and it's easy to deliver from my point of view. That's why I chose Ticket to deliver.
Excuse me, sorry, but just to jump in, I completely agree with Neil. It feels like a very smooth process. It's not jilted. You don't jump from one thing to another. Things naturally lead on from one to the next, and that learning takes place naturally, as opposed to being really stilted and jilted. And as he said, it's not a right, we do 6 lessons now and get you ready for your part 1. In fact, part 1 was hardly spoken about. Part 1's sort of my responsibility to get while we're learning other skills at the same time. It's not just hit that boundary, that sort of thing. It flows really well.
Okay, so that scraps the next question I was going to ask. How did the course differ from the other courses you had seen? And I think you were just saying that, you know, we don't deliver part 1, part 2, part 3. We deliver a holistic approach. I think that's what you were saying.
I kind of answered that a little bit too early, but yeah, it's the full-on holistic, and that's what I like, because my brain can't I like to know the whole thing around it, otherwise I don't learn. I need to know why and you know, that sort of thing. So it definitely being the whole rounded product, as opposed to personally for me, if it had been for the next 5 weeks, we're focusing on passing your part 1, so all we're going to do is road signs and rules, that would have put me right off. That's like going back to school again. However, I knew I had to do that, so in my own time I studied while I'm still learning out on the road with Neil, and it keeps that energy going. And as you said, it just flows along. The part 1 wasn't a big oh my God, I'm taking an exam. It just came and went. I did it, I got through it, I rang Neil outside, and it was great getting through it, but it wasn't the be all and end all.
Absolutely. Okay, Neil, I presume that you went through the old part 1, part 2, part 3 process.
I did, yeah, very much PSTs and all that. And well, when I did that, it was a long slog, I thought, to be quite honest, to the way that this course is set up, where it seems like a quicker process and an easier process. Does that make sense?
Makes sense.
Yeah, studying for PSTs sometimes was just a little bit too much all at once. You have to take it away and think about it, where this is, it's just so open, and it gives you so much more time to think about things separately and do things separately. Like Ian said, part 1, you know, that's his responsibility.
Yes, I agree. The course builds you as a driving instructor and doesn't go, here, add the lot, work it out, PST style, this is how you pass a test.
Exactly.
Okay.
I think you hit the nail on the head with that one, really. I'm sure there's a term for it in the educational language, but I call it learning without knowing. And if I've picked something up and I've learned something without actually realising that I've learnt it, if that makes sense, then what I'm doing is worth it. Then I know that the person who's giving me that learning, I know I'm learning off them. For instance, when you go back through your book and you finish, I did my part 2, working towards my part 3, and just little things, and you think, oh, I've done that, have I done? And then you go, yeah, I have. We covered that. You realise that everything is covered throughout the course without actually going, right, today we're just doing this and today we're doing that. It gets covered broadly, which is just wonderful.
Okay. I want you to take you back to when you signed up for the course. What was the original? I don't know what happened, but I'm presuming you had a meeting with Neil. He ran you through stuff. Tell us a little bit about that, please, Ian.
That's right. Again, a big tick for it is because it was personal and face-to-face, which is something that nobody else offers. Or I'm not going to mention them, but all the big driving schools that try and get your money off you before you can stand up almost. With Neil, it was absolutely no obligation. And with Ticket, obviously, it was no obligation. There was no, there didn't seem to be, well, there was no ulterior motive, as in I'm doing this so we can get this money and get you signed up to such and such. From day one, and again, as I said before, I'm from a medical training background. From day one, Neil was interested in me and how I wanted to learn and how I wanted to do it. Not, ooh, pound signs, I've found somebody who wants teaching, let's get what we can out of him. Straight, what do you want? Where are you from? What would you like? Where would you like to be? He introduced the Ticket course to me. He let me go away. Then there was no sign here, otherwise you'll never see me again, or this is a one-day opportunity offer or anything like that. I went away, I researched, I still looked at other courses, because from day one, he made it clear this is not the only course, okay, which is another great thing. When you've got a great product, you can brag about that because the other ones aren't so good. But yeah, the meeting was face-to-face. We were in constant phone contact then. And at no point did I feel pushed. And as I found out about the course, more about the course after that initial meeting with Neil, it was a no-brainer. As I say, I keep using that term, but it was a no-brainer. But again, I wasn't pushed. It was always from Neil, when you're ready, if you want to buy the course, when you're ready, you give me a shout. It was never, well, if you buy it by 7 o'clock tonight, it'll be with a discount of this or that or the other. That pushes me the other way. It was all natural, and it was all around me and what I wanted to do.
Excellent. Neil, I've got to ask you about this meeting. How did you prepare for this meeting with Ian? And also, along with that, what skills do you think you already had that helped you present that meeting to Ian?
So I prepared for the meeting. I've got a thing on my iPad, a brief that I go through. I discussed various things with him from that. I didn't work to it as a structure. I just kept flicking through and asking him certain questions around that. I think, to be quite honest, it was the rapport that we built up through having that conversation that actually made Ian feel like it was about him rather than anybody else. It was that initial rapport that we clicked straight away. I could talk openly and honestly about the course, how much it cost, what it was, what it does. And Ian just felt so comfortable with that he's made the choice in the end, and he's made the right choice, to be quite honest.
Okay. So where did you learn that rapport building skills, Neil?
Oh, well, that's easy. I learnt that on the BTEC 4 qualification that Try Coaching do. I fully use that all the time. That course was amazing for me, and it changed me as a person, and it changed me as a driving instructor, no doubt, 100%. And I'd recommend that to anybody doing.
Yeah, I mean, we run trainer courses for ADIs all the way, all over the country, and Neil, you helped support me on those, delivering those courses. And one of the things that stand out for me, and this is no disrespect to other ADIs who come on the course, but I can always see the difference between those who've done the BTEC or in coaching for driver development as a trainer and those who haven't. And not all the time, But what I notice is the majority of the time, the ones who've done the BTEC 4 have the trainer skills and can get up and running. Those who haven't done the BTEC 4 actually struggle more to get themselves up and running as a trainer. And I think that's a testament in itself to the course that we run. It's because it's all about you, the driving instructor, all about you, the person. But let's bring this back to Ian and the training. What was the training like from the start, from day one?
Okay, training from day one. It was, I'm not just going to go, it was good. I liked how you get involved straight away. There was no sort of, well, soon we'll get into a car or something like that, or soon we'll do this and that and the other. It was straight away, it's practical training straight away. And also, I love how it's suited to you. We chatted about how I learn. Do I like to observe things? Do I want to jump straight in? Do we want to have a go? As you can hear, I've got plenty to say as well. So Neil used to get a word in every now and again as well.
Actually, I'll pause you just for a moment because I want to ask a question which is linked to that from the beginning. What happened to allow you to prepare for each module from the beginning?
From the beginning, I'd get. You always receive an email. Okay, so before you do a module, you receive the email with all the instructions of how to prepare, what you need to bring with you to the lesson. So you're in absolutely no doubt between your email preparation from the ticket course and also from speaking to, obviously for day one, speaking to Neil in preparation, but then from every module, you get a almost welcome to the module email. This is what to expect. This is what you need to bring to your lesson. This is what the planning that you need to do beforehand or any work in advance. So you go there, you go to the lesson prepared. You go there not thinking, oh, I wonder if he's going to ask me this, that, or the other, because you know what the content's going to be. And also just going back a couple to what Neil said, the rapport that we built up is the fact that we can ask any questions. I've got no problem in asking questions, even if it's a daft question. I know that Neil just gives me the look. But no, in all honesty, the preparation's great. Again, for my brain, I like to know. I'm not completely OCD, but I like to know what's going to happen, what the plan is, and what we're going to be doing, and it just sets it out. It sets it out perfectly. But saying that, it doesn't mean that we can't. It doesn't mean that we've not strayed from that. If lessons have gone a different way, it's not completely black and white. We want to go off on one and do something different. That's fine.
Yeah, it's not casting tablets of stone.
No.
For both you, the trainee, and the trainer. You know, you, the trainee, you have guidance before you go to your module. The trainer has guidance in their notes before they start the module. But that doesn't mean to say that any module can be adapted and is flexible to the needs. There's something else I want to ask about those modules. How did you use the course book in relation to your training?
I think it's essential. Absolutely essential. I think the course book, obviously without it you'd be nowhere, because that takes you right through it. But the way that it's structured, the course book sits absolutely side by side with your training. My book was always in the car with me on those lessons. We would refer to it, myself and Neil. We'd get the book out. We'd use it to then refer back to the driver training standards, that sort of thing. It 100% links in side by side, especially with the activities and the action plans. If you've not got your course book, you can't look back to your action plans, and your action plans are essential for your recapping and doing your work at home, which is essential because you've got to put the hours in at home as well. And flying back again. I'm up and down. But when you said from the course from the start, when that little box of, say, the little box of materials dropped through the door, it didn't. But when the box of materials was delivered by the postman, that was a wonderful day. The resources that you get, your books, the official publications, fantastic.
Little diagrams.
It's a lovely brown parcel, sets up those expectations straight away, and it was just books and games and things everywhere. It was wonderful.
Okay, Neil, for you, how did being able to refer to the trainee's course book help you in developing your training on each module?
It allowed me to one, obviously see where he was. It allowed me to test his knowledge a little bit, and sometimes it's good for me to just refer back to it and to my training notes as well. And it's not a bad thing to just stop and just have a look and go through it between the two of you and cover anything that we've missed. But it's just a great point, like I say, to just refer back and stop and listen and see what's happening with each other, and gaining that knowledge together, sort of thing, and pushing it further on.
Okay. Ian, I've got a question for you. Between each module, how did you practice? Because there's exercises to do, you do your action plan. How did the action plan, how did you put it into practice from one module to the next?
I think you have to be structured, for want of a better word. You have to be quite structured with yourself, because it's very easy as a learner, and I know different types of learning. It's very easy to write an action plan. It's sometimes more difficult to follow it through, because obviously when you get home, there's other distractions, there's things like that. However, at the end of the day, if you want to be a driving instructor, you need to put these action plans into place. So as a single guy, I've not really got a lot of people to practice with. However, I went out in the car myself. I did the manoeuvres myself. I did it as if I was a student. I took myself through things like that. When I was a passenger in a car, because I always like to be the driver, but every now and again I'd say, I'll tell you what, why don't you drive for a change? If we were going somewhere with a friend, and why I wouldn't rip their driving apart, I could make notes in my head and I could think about things in my head. So it's essential to follow that action plan, or whatever your notes on that action plan, or whatever your plan is to do. It's important to follow that. Don't get bogged down by it. We don't need to do it 24 hours a day, otherwise it will drive you mad. However, you can use that action plan, and it's part of your learning. It's not just let's write it down to show Neil that we've done an action plan and then we'll tell him we've done it next time. It's part of the learning, and hopefully that shows on your next lesson that you've put that work in.
I think something you said there, what the course also helps you develop then, is to have empathy with when your learner driver or driver is learning a new skill or developing something within the car. You would have experienced that learning. It's relevant to you as well. So it becomes a transferable skill that you can give to whoever you're teaching. And I want to ask Neil what his views are on those transferable skills, because Neil's a qualified driving instructor teaching people to drive, qualified drivers as well as learners. What does he recognise from the ticket course that enables him to transfer those skills?
It's like you say, it's that empathy, it's knowing what your pupil might be going through. How did I feel when I was training? And, how can I relate my situations to how Ian's feeling or how the pupil's feeling that I'm teaching? It's just having that understanding. So once that rapport's there, that then can open up a massive amount of opportunities to see what people are thinking, how they're dealing with things, what their body language is saying, and it's transferring that sort of skill to Ian to become a driving instructor. I think it's valuable, to be honest.
And then it sort of completes the loop with the learner. I've got a difficult question for you.
Oh no.
Yeah, this is a difficult question. I can imagine it's going to be a challenge. I just want you to give me, what was the one thing you most enjoyed from the course? Just one thing. If you had to pick it out, give yourself a moment.
Wow, talk about put me on the spot. The one thing I enjoyed the most. Goodness gracious! Now there's two men staring at me.
I'll have me tea.
Yeah. Have a swig of your tea. I can't put my finger on one exact thing that I enjoyed the most. I think I'm trying to put it into words. The thing that I enjoyed the most. No, this is going to sound really cheesy.
Go on, do cheesy.
Okay. The thing that I enjoyed the most was my time with my instructor, and that, whether that just be one lesson, take one. I can't pinpoint one particular lesson. My time with my instructor was the most, and that's because I look forward to the time in the car with him and the input, not just to learn. I actually look forward to spending time and being out there as well. And that is completely.
I'm going to stop you there because you said, and I want there's that point what you were just saying. If you were to go back and ask ADIs over time how much they look forward to their training to become a driving instructor with their trainer, yeah, most, not all, but most in the industry would have been going, oh, no. Neil, I don't know if you want to add something to that, because you'd have been maybe through, I mean, I don't know what your training was like, but we both know, we hear horror stories.
Yeah, with that, I mean, I was training not with just one person. It was three of us in a car training at the same time. Didn't feel really personal. It felt that I had to try and grab onto things and learn from that, where this, I feel, is really personal. And if you ask me that question, one thing I enjoyed from this sort of training is I've seen Ian grow from just a normal person on the street to a driving instructor. And it's amazing to see that transformation. And you know, it's brilliant.
Just to add to that, if I was to pick a moment during the course, not actually page 17, paragraph 7 in the book or anything like that, I think there was a moment, and Neil will hopefully agree, there was a moment where probably somewhere around module 7, 8, 9, something like that, where it clicked, and where everything that we'd been practicing as not individual skills, but all of a sudden everything came together. And I kind of looked, I'm not saying I've got it as in I know what I'm doing, but I looked to Neil and went, I get this. Not that I didn't get it before, but it all comes together. And I just looked at it and I went, we're not just doing roundabout this, that, the other. It's all coming together. I think Neil agreed, somewhere around 7, 8, 9, I looked at him and went, I get this. Yeah. This is, do you know what I mean?
Now, there's a learning theory called Gestalt or Gestaltism. That's basically, to sum that up, it's when the penny drops and everything comes together. So as you've been fed bits as we go along, and those bits are there, and there, it's like a jigsaw puzzle. All of a sudden comes together and meshes together. Yeah. And you get those missing pieces.
Don't get me wrong. That module wasn't entitled "This is where it all comes together." It was while we were doing something else. It is just that I've got it.
Yeah, and you will experience that with your learners, where the week before they couldn't drive for toffees, and then they turn up the next week, and all of a sudden they can drive. You go, why haven't there? Yeah.
I'm sure I'll also find it as well as a PDI moving on. because when I say I've got it, I've got the course. I mean, obviously, I'm saying I don't know what I'm doing, but I've not got the experience. But I'm sure there'll come a time, as with my medical experience, when you go, I can do this.
And then you carry on learning, and things
You always
change.
learn.
Yeah. What would you say about your trainer's role in helping you get to where you wanted to be now? Because you're not fully there.
No.
But your trainer's role up to date so far?
I'd say it's essential. Not just essential, but to me it is, because of how available, for want of a better phrase, how available Neil has made himself. So it's never felt like you're with me for 3 hours in the car, then go away and do what you do. Okay, the trainers, he has made it from day one. Not that we're in this together, because it's my qualification, but we are in this together. He's not just helping me and instructing me along the way. He's mentored me through it 100%. If you've not got the rapport with that instructor or your trainer, your coach, whatever you want to call it, then I would have saw myself having a completely different experience from this. Completely different experience. So your trainer, but at the same time, he's not sat on my shoulder and been on the phone every 2 minutes pushing me the other way, which is what could happen. So it's striking that correct balance.
So for Neil, for you, how did you? Can you describe your role so far in? And I know you've trained other people apart from Ian, but so far in training people to become driving instructors, how you felt about your role as the trainer?
Well, I feel my role is more of a mentor's role rather than trainer. I'm there to facilitate their learning. There to help them achieve their goal. It's not on my agenda. I work to the person's agenda, or the potential driving instructor's agenda, and I guide them in the place that they need to be. So it's all about, like I say, being a mentor, knowing the person that you're dealing with and knowing how you can help them move forward and when to help them move forward as well. And I just think, like I say, using this course, it allows me to do that so much easier, because there's no tie down to it. Like we say, we can go off in different directions. We can talk about different things. I can use different experiences that I've had myself, and hopefully it gives them the indication there that it's all good and we can move forward.
Okay. I've got one question left, really, and then I'm going to ask you both for your final thoughts. But the one question for Ian is, if you had to sum up this course for somebody else, what would you say?
To sum up the course for somebody else.
Somebody else.
I would, in a short sentence, I would say to somebody else, it's the only course you need to look at. In a longer sentence, I would say that the ticket course is perfect for the modern day learner who wants to be a good driving coach and not just pass an exam. Who wants to teach somebody if you want to teach somebody to drive for life, not just pass an exam, then you need to do ticket.
Excellent. Okay. If you wanted to sum up the course from a trainer's point of view, if you were telling other trainers, Neil, about this course, what would you say to other wannabe trainers or people out there training but have got a little bit stuck in the old ways? What would you say to them about this course?
I would certainly tell them to to consider looking at it and reading through and chatting with various other trainers, you know, not just me, but all the other tri-coaching trainers out there, because we all do it in a different style, and that's fair enough. But I would certainly tell them that this course is probably the most easiest to work with, the most satisfactory course that you can get. It's satisfactory for not only the trainer but for the student, and it's just so easy, and it's so easy to get along with. Everything's set out, it's all in a structured sort of fashion, and you can just work together with it, and you can just facilitate everything that your learner needs to do. So I wouldn't tell anybody to go elsewhere. I'd always tell them to look at this first, because I believe it is the first course that you need to look at.
Excellent. Ian, any final thoughts from yourself?
It was just the final thoughts that I was just going to say around tri-coaching and the things like that. Once I was on board, I was absolutely over the moon when I realised that I'd chosen a product from a company where all the people involved in the company, Graham, Susan, Neil, yourself, everybody are leading people within the industry, and not just leading people within the industry. They are leading people within the industry with forward thinking and who have got the latest methods. I mean, Susan's name's on the latest book.
Teaching skills for driving. Right.
So I'm there with the people who are making waves now in the industry. I'm so pleased I've not joined one of the old school, because I'm sure there's an old school brigade out there without naming names. I don't know them. I've joined one of the forward thinking ones, and that's what really has impressed me, that your guys' names are out there everywhere. Not that I've been researching you or anything like that, but when you're just looking day to day, your names always crop up, and it's always tri-coaching or ticket or something like that is being pushed as this is the new way of doing things. And I'm so pleased that's the one I chose. Over the moon.
Excellent. Neil, final thoughts for you, but I will hand back to you at the end because you'll need to close, but final thoughts for you.
Okay. So final thoughts for me is one thing that I've not mentioned that I think I really need to mention is a PDI on this course is not left alone. So it runs in sort of like a backbone structure. So you've got PDI plus trainer plus trainer's trainer, and we're all accessible and we're all available to talk and answer any questions that they've got, you know. So I think that's invaluable, because I don't think that happens in most other courses. I think in most other courses you're left with just trainer and PDIs. So I think it's more personal. Like I say, the course is fantastic. It's so easy to get on with, and it's so much more to get so much more satisfaction out of using the course and seeing people grow so fast. And it is so fast. You know, like Ian said, from session 8, 9 or 10, whichever it was, there was a massive light bulb moment. And I seen that straight away. And that gave me so much satisfaction to know that, hang on, this guy's got this. He's going to be a driving instructor. And that was just brilliant. So I would just say, look at this course first, whatever.
Yeah.
Make your mind up.
Okay. I know I've already gave final thoughts once, but just to echo what Neil said, to put a nice sentence, I would say that as I was doing my initial research and met Neil, the ticket course would seem to be the only one, and tri-coaching seemed to be the only one that actually cared, as in caring about me. I mean, I'm sure other people care about getting your money in, but this is the only one that actually cared about me personally, not just getting me through an exam.
Okay.
And it's that personal touch that goes the whole way.
Excellent. I've just got a few final thoughts. First, you said it took me hours to write this script for these two guys. You know, having to put in all these compliments, it's taken me absolutely weeks and weeks to write this script.
You don't know how long it's
then
took
to learn it off pat, heart by heart, every single word. What amazing stuff they come out with. Thank you, seriously though. Thank you, you two. I mean, if I'd have written it, I couldn't have asked you to have said what you've said. So a real big thank you to both of you. And if you knew me, Ian, you know I actually don't write. So the other thing I want to mention about the course, I think is really important if people are considering it, whether you're a PDI or whether you're a trainer. This course is written to match the DVSA National Driver Rider Training Standards and the DVSA National Driving Syllabus, and that's really important for people to know that, because it's not a try coaching course, you do it try coaching's way. This is, you want to become a DVSA approved driving instructor. We've written the course so that you can become a DVSA approved driving instructor, and everything we teach you and help you learn is matched to the standards, because you don't want to be a Joe Blogs driving instructor. It's the DVSA that holds your registration. It's the DVSA who will test you. It's the DVSA who will give you a standards check. And anyone doing this course can be safe and secure in the knowledge that what they're learning will match the national standards. So that's my final word.
Okay, so it's over to me then now. Yeah, thank you guys. It's been brilliant having a good conversation with you. Certainly a good conversation around the product that we condone and deliver, and people learn from, like Ian. So all I'd like to say is thanks a lot, guys. Thanks for your time.
Yeah. Au revoir.